guys, I've got an update for the Winnebago. It's been about a year since we did our last video, and we are honestly just enjoying it. We're done. I'm just tinkering a little here and there, but I just wanted to give you an update of what I've done and how we're loving it, how it's going. So first thing is the paint. I painted it myself March 2019. It's over a year now. It's April or May 2020, and it looks like I painted it yesterday. There's a few little things here and there, and I'm not a professional, but it really comes down to the automotive paint. I prepped it good, and I did a good quality paint, so everything's sticking good. I'm loving the Cummins badges. So yeah, let's go inside. Screen door is doing great. Only issue that I've had is that these two Phillips screws loosen up slowly, and it makes it so it doesn't lock all the way. And I had the screen door swing open while cruising on the freeway one time, so that's not cool. But interior wise, everything's doing good. Just turn on some lights. We've got some different kind of storage in the closet. We got these 4 bins, which is great because I can just bring that inside the house, pack it up, and you know, the kids have to share, but plenty of room for everything and hanging storage. Need to figure out a better system for this, but at least it locks and it stays locked so it doesn't open when driving. Again, 4 seats back here, turns into my master bed. Bunk up here. Had to add a better structure for a railing so he doesn't roll off again. Cooking does great in here. Most of the time we cook outside anyways. We've got a little propane burner, but we got an electric burner here. We've got plug-ins. We use that. I love these little push button locks. Propane water heater works great. Great water pressure, water filter for filling up our water bottles. We've done a few pizzas in here. That works great. Again, it has to be plugged in to do that, or a generator running. Fridge does great. It had a little hiccup. First time we took it out to Washington last summer, it just stopped working for some reason. It wasn't cold anymore, but I think it wasn't level. A lot of these electric fridges don't like being tipped one way or another. I've heard that you have to like stand it up on its head, like upside down, so it can get everything flowing correctly. Banquette's doing great. Really the only structural issue that I'm not liking is the stuff that I didn't build. So this was from another RV that I just found on Craigslist, because this was all built and ready, and this was all made, and the legs and everything came with it. I'm like, sweet, I don't have to build it. Well, that junk, it's just cheap wood, you know, it's that particle board junk, so I'll probably have to rebuild those. Not super happy with the flooring. Not super happy with the flooring, but it does look good, and it is nice that you could buy these transition pieces, these edges, so I was able to make a nice lip here and there. Doghouse is insulated. I could still insulate it a little bit more. We started doing these patches and just put some Velcro on the back, so those are the places we've been. Radio works great, although we don't listen to it very much because honestly we're driving through pretty places, and I don't know, we just don't listen to music a whole bunch. One of the biggest issues that I had was with the transmission. It's got plenty of torque with the Cummins, and it's a 4-speed with overdrive. The way that it's geared, and I could switch the rear diff and switch some gear ratios and stuff, but at this point it shifts into 4th gear and overdrive with lockup at 46 miles an hour. If I'm once I get over that 46 miles an hour, it'll hold fourth gear with lockup until it drops below 35 miles an hour. Well, when I'm going up a hill and there's traffic, sometimes I go below 35 miles an hour, and then the transmission starts getting hot because it's not locked up. It creates friction, and that's pretty normal for old transmissions, but it's a heavy vehicle and I needed it to lock up. So I actually just wired this today and I went on a test drive, and what I did was I added a button, this little red one, to lock up the torque converter. So when I push that, even though it's below 45 miles an hour, 46 miles an hour, it'll still lock it up in stop and go traffic. You know, if I'm going 25, I can push this button and it'll lock it up in second gear or third gear, and the transmission temperature won't go up. So that was a big lifesaver for that, because I've got the transmission hot a few times. Not that this is the most accurate, it's the cheapest thing I could find on Amazon, but I still know that it was getting hot because just the way I was driving it. This little gadget's neat. It's from Amazon as well. It's a little GPS that it shows my speed, my altitude, which is kind of neat when you're climbing up a mountain. You can see how high you are. The GPS satellites that are connected to it, and it does trip and distance, and you can cycle through all these. So I'm liking that. I love my PA system. So I've got it's a CB radio, but I've got a PA button and a speaker that runs through there all the way, and I have a little speaker up here so I can talk to the kids in the back of the RV. Something happens, I ask them, or saying I'm going around a corner, buckle back up, or, you know, stop hitting your sister, that kind of stuff. Everything else is holding up great. I love the dashboard, seating position. It's an old car. It's not the most, what is it called, ergonomical. Just because you are sitting very straight up with your back, and I actually kind of like it. My back. This bed does great. We purchased this mechanism from a junkyard, an RV junkyard in Phoenix. It was from a newer model. It's not the same thing that these had, but you can see the little scissor mechanism, and it works great. I love it. Those are the curtains, to privacy curtains, and some storage up there. Yep, that's pretty much it. We're oh, here's the bathroom. How the bathroom is held up. It still looks amazing. This Ipe wood, super nice. Again, Ipe, I-P-A. It's like African, and then I just put some marine spar varnish on it, made some slats, and so it's serviceable. This is a section, this is a section, and they're just connected. And yeah, showers work great. Just to go around a little bit. Transmission cooler's working awesome. Got these hard lines from the transmission, and an electric fan that's always on whenever the ignition's on. I could have done a temp sensor, but I chose not to. Actually, it does have a temp sensor, but I bypassed it. But intercooler's working awesome. It's got plenty of boost. I think the highest I've seen is 15 pounds of boost, which that's not much for a diesel. That's stock. It does have that aftermarket intercooler and the aftermarket intake. Plenty of room for the oil pan. My suspension's pretty flat, so I need to lift it. I need to add a leaf or something. I don't have a whole lot of suspension travel before it hits that bump stop. but the shocks do well. It when I first started driving it, they still had the original, or the shocks that came with, and it would bottom out really bad, but the new shocks keep it much more stable. Generator, it's doing awesome. A little noisy, but it's fine. Stickers, that's my newest one, Moab. We went up there. And Arches, we stayed in Arches. But yep. We love it. It's our way to get out of town, and it's doing awesome.